You were not intended to blend in. You were created differently, wired for something higher, something beyond the ordinary. The world has attempted to shape, confine, and shatter you. But here you are, undisputed, unstoppable, and memorable. Do they sense it? Their eyes linger for too long. Their words wobble in your presence and how they respond. Without understanding why, you disturb the basis of everything they believed was solid. This is not only about charm. This isn't simply about presence. This is power. Your power. A force that reveals, disturbs, and changes. The world has made you feel like you're too much. But the fact is that they were never sufficient to manage you. And they are now aware of this. They attempt to apologize via whispers, fleeting looks, and chances they never intended to offer you. But it is too late. You have already won. Welcome to the age of you. When you enter the environment, the rhythm of the room changes and cracks arise. People don't just recognize your presence. They reacted. Some attempt to understand the disruption, while others sink in the discord. There is no neutrality where you are. Your presence necessitates an inward assessment. You are the variable. They never considered the power that shifts balance into chaos. Some people approach because they are drawn to something they cannot identify. Others are resistant, uneasy in the presence of anything that refuses to fit into their existing arrangements. You aren't an event. You're a catalyst, a meaningful disruption. They don't just observe you. They are tolerant of your presence. It's not charming, and it's not a well-cultivated presence. It's something deeper, an undercurrent that pulls, unearths, and fractures illusions, much like a signal cutting through static. You elucidate what was previously concealed. Some grab, yet others shrink in your presence, desperately seeking light. You refuse to look in the mirror because you do not want to see yourself. However, avoidance is ineffective. You leave a lasting impression, an echo in their view. They may escape, they may idolize, but they won't forget. The impact is not left in the air. It's ingrained in them. It rewires their thinking, how they remember, how they build their own tale. You can see it in the things they utter long after you've left, in the way they circle around your absence as if it were still present. It's in how they examine, dissect, and revisit their feelings in an attempt to justify them. They seek to define it, confine it, comprehend it, and, in some circumstances, eliminate it. However, energy does not beg for permission to stay. There is no neutrality in the aftermath of what you carry. You are the invisible becoming apparent, the forgotten brought into focus. It is disruptive below, liable and unrelenting in its impact, whether or not you want it. Your presence does not just exist. It indicates to others that it is the key to the door. They were afraid of revealing their secrets to people who were already suspicious. I could already see that the surface wasn't all there was. You are an answer in motion, but to others, you are a force that destabilizes what they have built. Some people perceive what you offer before they realize why they are attracted to you. They sense a change, a draw towards something that drives them to face realities they've ignored. Nonetheless, one sees revelation. Another person sees a danger. Those who have constructed their lives on the shaky grounds of denial, deceit, and illusion respond as if they are under attack. To them, you are not a person. You are a disturbance, a cause of collapse. They are resistant. They assault. They deflect. But what you reveal cannot be hidden. They lash out, not because of who you are, but because of what you show people. Confronting oneself is too much of a load, so they transfer it to you. They transform you into a villain, a handy scapegoat in the struggle. They refuse to fight within, and you know the signs. Uneasy looks, false laughs, and abrupt stiffness in their speech. Some strive to invalidate you, hoping to re-establish the world as they previously understood it. Others disintegrate in quiet, their carefully cultivated calmness slipping through their fingertips. Truth, once discovered, does not just dissipate. It festers, seeking awareness and forcing a decision between breaking or transforming. This is why you can't be ignored. You are not a mere presence in the background. You are a flaw in their manufactured world, and once the fissures appear, they cannot be reversed. Whether they welcome or resist the transformation, they will never be able to return to the comfort of their illusions. You don't beg for this authority. It still pursues you. And the uncomfortable part? You don't need to raise a finger if your heart is overflowing with God's gifts. Let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and donate $20 or more to sow seeds of faith that will change countless lives. Your giving exemplifies His richness. Be a channel for His grace and watch His kingdom grow through you. People react differently when you're present. Sometimes discreetly, sometimes forcefully. Their foundations quake. Their assurance wanes. There is no need to use force or persuade anybody. Your very presence is enough to upend the delicate balance they are trying to maintain. This is why certain people seek you out, drawn to a transformation they don't completely comprehend. This is why people fear you, because transition isn't always kind. Where some seek liberty, others sense devastation. But anarchy isn't only the end. It is also the beginning. What has been buried will not remain buried in your presence. The unsaid comes to the surface, unfiltered and unmistakable. You do not cause instability. You just remove the restrictions that kept it at bay. And other individuals were always teetering, carrying their own secret storms, poised on the brink of their own demise. Then you come, and the dam breaches. They focus, unwind, and are devoured by what was always inside them. You've seen it before. The way they circle you, like something people both want and dread. Some are influenced in ways they can't describe. Long after you are gone, their thoughts twist, their emotions warp, and they mistake their obsession for love or hate, although it is neither. It's a deeper, personal reckoning. They were never prepared for this. And it's not just the unstable ones. Even people who take pride in their control are not exempt. What you carry operates like a magnifying lens, showing fissures they never noticed. Some confront it with clarity, while others fight. However, none stay unaltered. Something shifts and unravels under the surface. Some people welcome it, using the experience as fuel for their development. Others, however, are consumed whole. The fences they created to keep themselves in check begin to disintegrate, revealing the raw turmoil. They can no longer control their ideas, feelings, and conduct, which warp us into something chaotic, even unrecognizable to them. And somehow, you become the focal point of their swirling and focus. It's not that you cause devastation. It's that they're unprepared to confront what has always lurked in their own shadows. It is simpler to blame the flame than to admit that the fire was already there. You did not cause the lunacy. You find it, exposing what others have long overlooked. However, perception distorts. People witness the aftermath, the devastation of undiluted truth, and mistake you for the culprit. They murmur allegations, describing you as volatile, violent, and disruptive. But those who understand may see it plainly. You do not break brains. You reveal their cracks. That, more than any other kind of damage, is what actually unravels them. Because nothing is scarier than the weight of an uncovered truth. Behold, I have perfected it, but not with silver. I have decided to be in the furnace of tribulation. Isaiah 48:10. Fire accomplishes two things. It destroys or refines, and not everyone is prepared for the heat. Most individuals want change until they understand it comes at a cost. They want insight without pains, strength without procedure, and anointing without hardship. But the fact is that you can't become who you were intended to be until you go through the fire that consumes everything you aren't. Imagine a sculptor looking at a chunk of marble. He does not see just stone. He sees what is hidden within and reveals it. The excess must be chipped away in pieces until the masterpiece is revealed. That's you. You are not just shifting. You're being revealed. And revelations are never kind. Some individuals believe waking is a gentle, serene discovery, like a dawn gradually lighting the sky. However, genuine change is not a sunrise. It is an earthquake. It rattles the earth under you. It cracks open everything. False. Everything is frail. Everything is constructed on falsehoods. And when the dust settles, only what is genuine remains. You were not sent here to console folks with beautiful illusions. You were sent here to deliver the truth, which sets prisoners free. However, not everyone wants to be free. Some have spent their whole lives creating the prisons they now live in. And when you come through, shine too brilliantly, or speak too forcefully, they are forced to notice the connections. It pushes them to understand that the walls they live behind are composed of fear, ego, and lie. And some people will despise you for it. They'll label you dangerous. They'll label you disruptive. They'll call you too often. Not because you are any of those things, but because you help others see themselves. You are a mirror. They did not beg for a spotlight. They weren't prepared for this. The fact is that some individuals would sooner kill the light than confront what it shows. But listen, the fire you'll start isn't for them. For every person who flees the heat, there is another who enters it gladly. Because those who are actually prepared, those who have waited for something more, they perceive you as you are. Not annihilation, but cleansing. Not turmoil, but clarity. Not a danger, but a threshold. A portal to something bigger. And make no mistake, you're not here by accident. You received a call. You were picked. You were fashioned by the woods, refined by effort, prepared for this very occasion. You do not need to demonstrate your value to people who cannot see it. You do not need to persuade those who will never comprehend. Your road is not for the faint-hearted. It is for the courageous, those who are willing to go beyond comfort, delusion, and fear. So, stand steady. Allow the ones who misinterpret you, misunderstand. Allow those who are unable to handle your fire to retreat. Because those who are intended for you, those who are prepared, will come forward. They will thank you for it. You're not here to fit in. You came here to awaken. Not everyone is willing to succumb to truth. Some people resist change by clinging to their perfectly built environments, as if they can survive it. They misread the project and recoil not because of who you are, but because of what you present to them. Your existence is a perversion, a sickness beyond their comprehension. They respond with dread, disobedience, and frantic efforts to blame you for their suffering. However, they were always uncomfortable. You are the one force that makes it difficult to ignore. When the mind starts to fragment, it seeks any method of escape. Some lash out, some run, but some people chuckle. A hollow, uncomfortable sound conceals the stillness cracking underneath. This is not amusement. It is the mind's attempt to maintain stability and control in the face of something it is unable to understand. They persuade themselves it is nothing. It's ludicrous that they are unaffected, but laughing cannot prevent the inevitable. The weight of suppressed knowledge does not diminish. It merely awaits the time. They can no longer contain it. The sound escapes before they can contain it. Strange, uneven, and fraying at the edges. It's not joy. It's not amusing. It is a reflex, a frantic attempt at control. When reality slips beyond their grasp, look closer, and the gap is obvious. Their laughter does not match their gaze. Their motions seem forced, and their bodies are stiff despite the appearance of relaxation. They swear they are okay, but the fissures reveal a different narrative. It is not laughing. It's a system error, a last-ditch effort to keep anything together that is already falling apart. Denial has a vocabulary, and it may sometimes be expressed via laughing. The more they reject the transition, the louder it becomes. A performance aimed at convincing oneself that nothing has changed, but something did. The whole fabric of their perception is changing, unraveling thread by thread. They term it a joke. They play it off, but the echoes remain. By the time the laughing fades, an irrevocable alteration has occurred. They won't own it, won't say it out, but they'll never view things the same again. Some facts are delivered discreetly, cloaked in the ridiculousness of their own deflections. Negativity never gets to you in the manner they intended. They fling daggers, jealousy, spite, deceit, but the blades never land. They shatter on collision, reducing to nothing before they can do you damage. What they don't comprehend is that you can't just endure opposition. You feed off of it. Their resentment is gasoline. Their efforts to undercut you will just sharpen your edge. You've seen it before. Their wrath evaporates into irrelevance. The way their malice builds momentum. Every effort to undermine you is only another step toward your climb. No weapon created against them will succeed, and every mouth that will rise against them in judgment, you must condemn. Isaiah 5417. Allow me to tell you something. Pressure does not shatter the chosen. It refines them. Have you ever seen how a diamond is made? It begins as a rough, ordinary piece of rock, but under extreme pressure and heat, it turns into something unbreakable, something priceless. That's you. They believed they were crushing you. However, all they did was make you indestructible. They lied to you. They counted you out. They talked behind your back, thinking you would never get up again. But look at yourself now, still standing, still climbing, still here. They don't comprehend how you continue to go ahead, how the things that should have killed you made you stronger. Every betrayal and rejection, every strike they launched on you, it did not bury you. It implanted you, and now you're developing in ways they never expected. See? People like putting the anointed to the test. They want to see whether you will break, fold, or degrade yourself to their level. But you do not even have time for their games. Because you know something? They do not. God does not allow His chosen ones to remain down. They intended to damage you, but it has become your launchpad. What should have made you vulnerable has made you unshakable. And this is what truly drives them insane. You don't even hang on to your resentment. You don't hold grudges. Not because you couldn't. Not because you can't recall every name, treachery, and dagger they inserted into your back. But you refuse to let their poison dwell freely in your soul. Most people will never grasp what you understand. Holding bitterness doesn't make you stronger. Letting it go does. They expected their comments to shatter you, but they simply reinforced your resolve. They expected you to be discouraged by their rejection, but it merely removed distractions from your path. They expected their hatred to weaken you, but it really increased your strength. Every time they attempted to bring you down, you surged higher. And now they have no idea what to do with you. They remain silent while watching, frustrated and helpless, because nothing they do can affect you anymore. Their weaponry will not operate. Their plans will not succeed. Their strategies have failed, and that awareness haunts them, because you're now too tall for them to reach. And they're trapped watching. They are aware that they have no control over what will happen next. Your ascension is unavoidable. They wonder why their efforts go unnoticed. Why do their attempts to belittle you evaporate before they even begin? The solution is straightforward. You're beyond their grasp. They live on scarcity, distortion, and taking rather than producing, while you reside in something impenetrable. You do not participate in their games. You do not degrade yourself to their level. You absorb. You undergo a transformation. Then you rise. Not everyone is designed to have access to you. Not everyone can endure your presence. As a result, you've learnt, sometimes painfully, that your energy has to be guarded like a threshold that only the deserving may pass. You were never intended to be available to everyone. Never intended to be drained by people who only know how to set limits rather than preferences. They are necessary. You felt it. The gravity that remains after an inappropriate chat, the unexplainable weight of some exchanges, the way certain individuals drain you without ever speaking a bad word. It is not a coincidence. It is your energy that resists incursion. Others approach with adoration, but it veils hatred with compassion, which conceals hunger. They do not get to know you. They came to feed. There are people who move with duplicity, masking their intentions in phony concern and delivering superficial gestures in return for slivers of your light. However, you are no longer an open route for their ingestion, whether unintentionally or purposely. You've perfected the art of protection. You no longer defend your decisions to others who don't comprehend them. Your remoteness speaks for you. Your absence is its own stronghold. You discern lies before they reach you, breaking links before they become shackles. Those who formerly benefited from your openness are now shut out, growing restless in the vacuum you've created. They say you have changed, call you disconnected, remote, or inaccessible. But in reality, you have merely awoken. You see the patterns, the quiet transactions, and how certain presences take without ever providing. And now, you may now pick with purpose. This is not a withdrawal. This is protection, not simply from others, but from your own history. Inclinations to overextend, rationalize, and quiet the voice that has always cautioned you. Your energy is not for casual use. Finally, you preserve it with the respect it deserves. Something you leave behind is never fully gone. You are more than simply a chance meeting or a transitory presence. You leave a mark, an echo stitched into the fabric of their minds. They depart transformed, leaving traces of your energy with them in their relationships, decisions, and perceptions of what is and might be. Some people may sense the change happening in real time. Others only comprehend in hindsight, attributing their metamorphosis to the time they met you. You've seen it in the way their words change, their viewpoints alter, and the way they carry something they can't describe. They attempt to revert to familiar routines, old habits, and the comfort of illusion. But something within them refuses. A change has taken root, silent but persistent. Even when they profess disinterest, they carry parts of you with them in their discussions, interactions, and thoughts. They speak your name and reflect your presence in ways they don't comprehend. Some will welcome the upheaval, seeing it as a stimulus for development. Others will struggle to peel back the layers they formerly sheltered behind, puzzled by the persistent anxiety and ignorant that the transformation has already started. Once put in action, the effect cannot be reversed. A single contact with you sparks something that spreads outward, unseen but unmistakable. Some will go further, uncovering lies they previously believed to be true. Others will avoid striking out in uncertainty, looking for anything or someone to blame. However, the transition does not end there. It passes through them, changing interactions, changing dynamics, and revealing previously overlooked discrepancies. You're not present. However, your energy extends far beyond the present instant, influencing the path of events in ways no one predicted. Truth spreads like an ember catching wind, transforming inconspicuous sparks into something irresistible. This is why they fear you, not just for what you say in the moment, but also for what happens afterwards. You are not a passing encounter. You're a catalyst. They arrive with polished phrases, planned lines, and well-maintained illusions, effortlessly removing pretenses. But something about your presence disturbs them. Their composure wavers. Their very words betray them. The performance unravels before they know they have lost control. They believe they can manage the result and change the story to suit their goals. But lying is delicate in your company. It falls under its own weight. They approach with confidence, certain that they can guide the direction of the discussion, only to stumble upon their own inconsistencies. The more they talk, the more twisted they become. Their subconscious reveals facts. Their conscious consciousness was resolved to suppress. Those who depend on control are the first to fail. Their confidence crumbles when they discover they are in an environment where their regular strategies fail. Some will realize too late that their games aren't working here. Panic triggers the immediate impulse to rewind, rewrite, and transfer responsibility. They race to reframe the subject, making you wonder what you had just observed. Some may strike out, using hostility as a shield, believing that force would drown out their vulnerability. However, regardless of how they respond, the outcome stays the same. They cannot hide what has already been exposed. In a society where deceit is the norm and facades are the basis, your presence alone is enough to demolish all they rely on. Illusions flourish in circumstances that allow individuals to pretend, where facts may be twisted just enough to be pleasant. However, you interrupt everything. You do not meet their expectations. Do not provide the planned remarks that they expect. You observe, and, more crucially, you reflect without effort or goal, just by being. This is why the responses to you are never neutral. For some, your presence is thrilling, a long-awaited revelation. Others are disturbed by the intrusion into their well-maintained veneer. Because with you, the mask does not last long. And after everything has settled, feelings vanish. What remains is evident. Some will see the experience as essential, even if it was unpleasant. They will witness how it caused them to face themselves, how it broke down old barriers they didn't know they were carrying. Others, on the other hand, will resist the revelation, condemning you for the clarity they never desired. But regardless of how they react, the transformation is irrevocable. They will repeat phrases stated in your presence in order to better comprehend them, trying to figure out why the encounter has a lingering effect on them. They will ultimately identify it for what it was, whether in quiet or via admittance, an uncovering of what was always present. The transformation was never about you. It was about them. When they could no longer unsee what had been concealed, their carefully cultivated illusions started to crumble. The moment they were confronted with the sheer weight of reality, some will use what they've seen to develop a stronger, clearer, and more deliberate life. Others will resist grabbing at what is slipping away, attempting to reclaim what can no longer be repaired. However, no one goes away untouched. Your energy is not unnoticed. It leaves a lasting impression, causing a fundamental change. It is not in your words or deeds. It is in the way your presence brings the invisible to light. You don't just exist in people's life. You modify them. Some people will resent you for it. They're calling you a disruptive force, a presence they'd rather not have met. Others will seek you out, lured back to the metamorphosis they once dreaded. But whether they accept it or reject it, whether they welcome or resist change, one thing is constant. The instant they meet you, the trajectory of their reality is altered, and no matter how hard they try to regain the past, it will never fit exactly right again.